Mr. Vijay Anand. Mr. Vijay Anand is a co-founder and president of Fifth Pillar, which is an international non-profit organization that uses the Zero Rupee Note and the RTI Act of 2005 to encourage, enable and empower every citizen of India to eliminate corruption at all levels of society. He was an NRI software engineer who returned from US to India in the year 2006 with the aim to better India by creating an informed and service-minded citizenry. He has dedicated his life for the improvement of illiterate citizens living in the rural India. He served on the board of the National Federation of Indian Associations, the largest US-based Indian umbrella organization, and also on the board of India Cultural Coordination Committee that aims to promote and foster goodwill and to cultivate cultural togetherness and encourage unity among all Indian organizations. Fifth Pillar has been conducting awareness programs in more than 1,600 schools and colleges to empower and train students on innovative methods for leading better and productive lives and thereby be useful to the society and the nation's progress. And today, here we are having the great opportunity to attend the RTI session conducted by Mr. Vijay Anand and his team from Fifth Pillar, who believes that the citizens of a society are the foundation of the nation. We welcome Mr. Vijay Anand and the Fifth Pillar team.
Good afternoon, everyone. I would like to thank the management of PSG Institute of Management and all of you for taking this time off. I'm sure this is not regular class hours, so regardless, you've chosen to be here. So thanks for that. I think this is the last time I'll thank you for everything, because at Fifth Pillar we believe that what Fifth Pillar has taken up is a lost cause that has been given up by the previous generations in India for the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years. When India got independence, earlier generations, by simply being gullible, innocent citizens, hope that the governments will deliver, and they all just stuck to their day-to-day lives, their routines, making money, making sure their families are happy, their children are happy, and accumulating wealth for their children, and not worrying about what's happening to the society, what's happening to the fiber of the nation, what's happening to accountability, transparency, governance in the government machinery. So, having said that, I think it's high time this generation, I would like to be called or associate myself with your generation, but unfortunately I finished my graduation 20 years back. So the hope is only with your generation. If your generation builds up like the previous 6 decades generation, then I think India does not have a choice at all. There's a very popular dialogue from a Tamil movie a decade back. How many of you do not understand Tamil at all? Spoken Tamil. Can I use a few Tamil words here and there? You will be able to accommodate with that. So this dialogue in this popular Tamil movie goes like this. இப்படியே போச்சுன்னா தமிழ்நாட்டு ஆண்டவனாரோட கூட காப்பாற்ற முடியாது அப்படின்னு ஒரு dialogue, ஒரு movie dialogue. It means if the status quo continues, if nobody steps forward and says, I'm going to change this no matter what, I am one atom in this country and I'm going to do what one atom can do. You know what one atom can do, right? Everything, whatever energy we are talking about, the smallest particle or component is the atom, right? So each citizen is an atom. So if many such atoms come together, you can create an atomic energy. And atomic energy I'm not a fan of atomic energy, but I'm just taking it as an analogy or a parallel to share with you what fifth pillar is hoping to, what fifth pillar is envisioning will happen in the next 1 to 2 decades, which is people of your generation will step forward and say, when I say this, I'm not blaming our parents or grandparents. I hope you all are with me on that. I'm not personalizing this. So if any of our parents have worked for the government, or any of our parents have been dutiful, patriotic citizens looking out for the country's well-being, we should definitely appreciate and admire that. But barring 5 to 10% of such Indian citizens, the 90% of Indian citizens, what do they do? When there is a red light, what do they do? When there is a red light at the traffic signal, what do the 90% of Indians do? They don't stop. So when there is a red light, they don't stop. They stop only when the other motorists stop, or they stop only when there is a traffic constable at the light. If there is a red light and there is no fellow citizens around, and if there is no traffic policeman around, our fellow Indian citizen keeps going through the red light. And there are some unwritten rules in India. These are only in India. Like there is a famous saying, only in America, or only James Bond. These are famous dialogues from the movies, right? So there are things that only we can enjoy the scene in the movie only if James Bond does it. Only if Rajnikant does it. Only if Kamal Haasan does it, there are certain things that we can enjoy, right? So likewise, there are certain basic traits of the Indian citizen. After 10 o'clock, is there a no entry in India? After 10 p.m. in the night, can you go in the no entry? Yes? That's what we have been taught by our parents, right? Because when you were a child, you were standing in front of the scooter or sitting in front of the motorcycle or sitting next to your parent in the car, and you found that your parent goes through a one-way traffic street, and the first time if you ever asked or before you asked, your parents would have justified saying that after 10 o'clock you can go. Do you think it's true? Does anybody in this hall think it is okay to go through a one-way traffic street in the night after 10 p.m.? 2 days back, we had a television show recording in Chennai, and in that television show recording, there were, out of 15 participants, one participant who was a software engineer working in an IT firm in Chennai said that he was arrested by the railway police. So we had an episode about the railway department's corruption and lack of prompt service, timely service, poor service and all that. In that show, he started talking about the railway police arresting him in the middle of the night meaning around 11:30 p.m. And when asked why was he arrested, he said he was sitting in the ladies' compartment. So this guy is a graduate. This guy is an educated, BE educated graduate. He looked very reasonably knowledgeable person. He was well dressed, and he lives in the city for a long time. He got arrested by the police for sitting in the ladies' compartment. So he is blaming the police department, right? So the question arises, why do you even sit in the ladies' compartment? Then he says, his colleague said that it is okay for men to enter the ladies' compartment after 10 p.m. So after 10 p.m., it is like women in India cannot go out. They should not go out. They have to stay home, right? That's what the society has dictated over the period of decades and thousands of years, right? So his friend says, after 10 p.m. ladies' compartments will be vacant, so you can go. So the reason I'm going into so much detail in small incidents like this is the state of the Indian nation is such not because of the politicians or the bureaucrats or the system, because we find some straw man to beat, right? So the straw man here is the system. Forgetting that we are the system, we are the fiber, we are the atomic parts of the system. So rather than complaining, rather than keeping on brooding, lamenting, complaining, what can we do? I'm sure every one of you in this room, like many other Indian citizens outside this room, want India to be a proud country, not as an atomic power, not as a nuclear power, not as a superpower, because superpower in Tamil means rowdy. If you are a superpower, it means you want other countries to fear you. Do you want us to be a rowdy nation? No, right? But what happens to in Tamil, it goes much better than in English. They say, what is superpower in Tamil? Can somebody say that? இந்தியா வந்து 2020ல என்ன ஆகும்னு சொல்லி அப்துல் கலாம் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. வல்லரசு. வல்லரசுன்னா என்ன? சூப்பர் பவர். நல்லரசு ஆனாதான் நமக்கு தேவை. நல்லரசு ஆனாதான் எல்லாத்துக்கும் சாப்பாடு கிடைக்கும். நல்லரசு ஆனா போதும். வல்லரசுன்னா ரவுடியாகும். நம்ம நல்லரசா இருந்தா, have you heard about any country that has a perfect democracy? 99% functional democracy. It can be a small country, it can be a medium-sized country. Have you heard of such a country going to war with another country and being in the news for bombing another country? Let us say some of the very small European countries, or let us say Singapore. Have you heard Singapore going to war with any other country? Why? They are not a superpower. Every citizen lives in Singapore. They may not like some of the government strictures. Singapore government is very strict. It's like a noble dictator. India the noble dictator. So Singapore is a noble dictator. Citizens are government madikkudu. Government citizens are madikkudu. They respect the citizens, right? How many of you have walked into a police station or a ration card or a government office? Any government office? How many of you have walked into a government office? Almost all of you. How many of you felt that you are proud being an Indian citizen walking into that department? How many of you felt happy, relaxed, calm, and came out with a fulfilled mindset? Please raise your hands. Wow. That takes us to the... Can you explain your